Before we begin today's story, take a quick moment to support the channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Your support helps us bring more powerful and unforgettable stories like this one to life. Stories like the one you're about to hear aren't just something you watch. They're something you feel. They stay with you long after the video ends. Today's story is about timing, about the choices we make when we believe certain chapters of our lives are already finished, and about the unexpected moments that force those chapters open again. Because sometimes life doesn't ask for permission before it changes everything. And sometimes all it takes is one simple knock on the door. The night had settled gently over the quiet neighborhood in Ohio. It was the kind of peaceful silence that felt almost delicate, as if the entire street was holding its breath. The houses rested under a soft glow from the streetlights, their pale yellow light stretching across empty sidewalks and quiet lawns. A cool breeze drifted through the trees, rustling leaves just enough to remind anyone awake that the world was still turning. But inside one modest house at the end of the street, the night felt especially still. Emily Carter stood in her living room, preparing to end another ordinary day. The lamp beside the couch cast a warm, soft light that filled the room with comfort. It was the kind of light she had grown used to over the years, gentle, familiar, dependable. Her life had become quieter as time passed. Years earlier, the house had been filled with noise, laughter bouncing off the walls, footsteps racing down the hallway, doors opening and closing, music playing too loudly. But those sounds had slowly faded. Now the house carried a different kind of silence. Not an empty silence, but one shaped by routine, memory, and the quiet acceptance of a life that had settled into calm patterns. Emily reached over and switched off the lamp. Darkness slowly crept into the corners of the room, wrapping the house in shadows that felt almost comforting. She stretched slightly, preparing to head to bed. Another ordinary night. Another quiet ending to the day. Then it happened. The sound was sharp, sudden, too loud for such a peaceful night. Emily froze instantly. Her hand was still hovering near the lamp switch, her body caught between instinct and confusion. For a moment, she didn't move. Her heart skipped once, then again, as if it somehow recognized the sound before her mind could understand it. No one knocked on her door this late anymore. Not these days. Not in the life she had grown used to. The neighborhood was quiet, predictable. Visitors came during the day. Phone calls replaced unexpected appearances. And yet, there it was again. This time it was firmer, still careful, still restrained, but undeniable. Emily felt something tighten inside her chest. At first she assumed it was fear, or maybe simple surprise. But the feeling growing inside her wasn't quite either of those things. It was something far more dangerous. Hope. The thought startled her. Hope had a strange way of appearing when it wasn't welcome. She stood there in the hallway wearing faded blue pajamas, her hair loosely tied back. The faint reflection of her figure appeared in the dark mirror across the wall, barely visible in the dim light. For a brief moment, she considered ignoring the knock completely, pretending she hadn't heard it, letting the night swallow the sound and carry it away. But something deep inside her wouldn't allow it. Something pushed her forward. Slowly, Emily began walking toward the front door. Each step stirred memories she hadn't expected, echoes from another time. A younger version of herself moving through the same hallway, a child's laughter filling the rooms, small feet racing toward the door whenever someone knocked. Those memories arrived suddenly and vividly, as if the house itself remembered. Emily reached the door. Her hand rested on the handle. She paused. For just a second, she closed her eyes. Then she opened the door. And everything changed. Standing on the porch was a young man with a travel bag slung over his shoulder. The porch light illuminated his face just enough for her to recognize him instantly. Daniel. Her son. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Time seemed to stretch between them, thick and heavy. Years of distance compressed into a single silent moment. Daniel looked older than the last time she had seen him. Life had left small marks on his face, subtle lines near his eyes. A tiredness that hadn't been there before. But none of that mattered. Because he was still unmistakably her son. Emily didn't say a word. She simply stepped forward and wrapped her arms around him. The hug was immediate. Tight. almost desperate, as if letting go too soon might cause him to disappear again. Daniel hugged her back just as firmly. The tension in his shoulders slowly faded as he leaned into the embrace. He closed his eyes for a brief moment, breathing in deeply. The familiar scent of home surrounded him. And only then did he realize how much he had missed it. "I didn't mean to show up like this," Daniel said quietly after a moment. His voice carried the exhaustion of someone who had traveled a long way. Emily pulled back slightly, just enough to look at his face. Her eyes studied him carefully, as if making sure he was truly standing there. "I'm just happy you're here," she replied softly. And she meant it. Daniel stepped inside. He glanced around the house, noticing the subtle changes. The furniture looked softer. The decorations were simpler. The house felt calmer somehow, shaped by years of quiet routines rather than the chaos of a busy family life. Emily gently closed the door behind him, but as the door clicked shut, she felt something twist inside her stomach. A nervous flutter. Because Daniel's arrival wasn't the only unexpected thing that had happened that night. Daniel seemed to sense it immediately. His eyes lingered on his mother for a moment. Her smile had flickered. Just slightly. Barely noticeable. But he had caught it. His gaze drifted toward the living room, as if he could feel something hidden there. "Were you heading to bed?" he asked casually while placing his travel bag near the wall. But beneath the casual tone, curiosity lingered. Emily hesitated. Only for a second. But long enough. "I wasn't expecting anyone tonight," she said. Her voice tried to sound relaxed, but it wasn't quite convincing. And then it happened. From the other room came a quiet sound. The soft scrape of a chair moving across the floor. Daniel's expression changed instantly. His eyebrows drew together as he slowly turned his head toward the living room. A silent question filled his eyes. Emily felt her heartbeat quicken, because the night had already taken a direction she hadn't planned. Earlier that evening, Emily had been sitting across from someone she hadn't seen in years. Someone she had believed was permanently gone from her life. Someone who belonged to a chapter she thought had ended forever. But now, everything was colliding inside the narrow hallway of her home. Past, present, and the future she hadn't prepared for. Emily took a slow breath. Then she gestured quietly for Daniel to follow her. Each step toward the living room felt heavier than the last. Her mind flashed back to the message she had received earlier that evening. A message she almost ignored. A message that had reopened a door she thought was locked forever. They reached the edge of the living room. Daniel stopped. His body stiffened slightly as his eyes settled on the figure standing near the window. The man slowly turned around. Street light filtered through the curtains, casting a pale glow across his face. Time had changed him. Years had added lines to his features. But there was no mistaking who he was. Michael Reynolds. In that instant, Emily understood something very clearly. This night was no longer under her control. Daniel looked from the man, then back to his mother. Confusion settled across his face. Not anger, not fear, just uncertainty. Emily felt the weight of every secret she had never planned to explain pressing against her chest. She had never imagined introducing this part of her past to her son. Not like this. Not unexpectedly. Not with the past standing right in front of them. Clearing her throat, Emily stepped forward. "This is someone from my past," she said carefully. Every word felt important now. Daniel listened quietly. His eyes studied both of them closely. Emily suddenly realized how much her son had grown. How easily he could read what wasn't being said. That realization filled her with pride. And fear. Michael spoke briefly. His tone was respectful. Measured. His eyes avoided lingering too long on Emily, as if he understood the delicate balance of the moment. Emily silently appreciated that more than she could express. The entire situation felt fragile, like glass balanced on the edge of breaking. Daniel nodded slowly. He absorbed everything without rushing to speak. Then he looked back at his mother again, searching her face for answers she hadn't yet given. And in that moment, Emily realized something important. The knock on the door hadn't just interrupted her evening. It had forced the truth into the open. The room filled with silence. Heavy. Thoughtful. Because sometimes silence speaks louder than any explanation. Daniel adjusted the strap of his bag, and gave his mother a small, tired smile. He didn't push. He didn't demand answers. Instead, he chose patience. And in that small, quiet act, Emily felt something stir inside her. Something fragile. Something she hadn't felt in a very long time. Hope.